Hello friends, today we are going to be making some mock rib knit gloves. This is a free pattern and tutorial. I think it's really good for like a quick gift, something easy to make. I use the Brother KX350, which is a mid-range knitting machine. It's very similar to the Silverreed LK150, but if you have like one of those fancy low gauge knitting machines, it should work great on that too. All you really need for this pattern is like half a skein of yarn. And I use like really fancy yarn for this because I just happen to have like half a skein of really fancy yarn lying around. You can use any yarn that you want. I suggest using a weight 3. I know it's kind of tedious to make a gauge swatch for such a small knit, so you know, you don't have to if you don't want to. But if you're going to use like a gauge 4, you might want to do some calculations. So I would at least stick to a weight 3 for your yarn. The link for the free pattern can be found in the description. Go ahead and click that, download it, get yourself all set up, and let's get started. Hey guys, quick editor's note. I have my YouTube video already, which obviously I'm going to have to edit now that I'm adding this. And I also have my pattern ready and I'm about to post it on Etsy. And then I learned that Etsy does not allow me to post it for $0. It does have a minimum of 20 cents. So I'll be posting it for 20 cents on Etsy. In the meantime, I'm also going to try to figure out how to post it on Ravelry for free and see if there's a way I could do that. But for now, you can find it on Etsy for 20 cents. Etsy also does charge me every time that somebody buys my pattern. They like take a fee out. So if I'm charging 20 cents, that basically means they're gonna take your 20 cents and then they're also gonna take 30 cents from me. So in a way, we're both paying 20 cents for you to have the pattern. So Etsy's not the best. Anyways, I hope you guys like the pattern still. Have a good one and have a happy holiday. So first things first, we want to change our row counter to 0, and then we want to set our tension dial to 3.5, which we have here. And now we push out the number of stitches we want for the glove. So for a small/medium, that's 41, and for a medium/large, that's 47. If you do this and you find it's just a little too big or a little too small, if you keep the ribbing to 1x1 ribbing, you can just go up or down 2 stitches. All right, and now we are going to use our working yarn to do an E-wrap cast on. Something else you can do here that's optional is you can use some elastic thread and you can use it in conjunction with this to kind of give you a stretchy bind on. I won't be doing that for this one because I like it without it. If you like to have a snug bottom part of your glove, I would recommend using the elastic thread. Okay, and then we want to knit 1 row. Okay, push all our needles out. Knit 1 more row. And we're going to do this until RC equals 4. I like to use this tool to push every other needle out into position E, and we'll start by taking one and dropping it down, and then we'll just kind of unravel this bit. It's a little bit tricky because it's only 4 rows, but we really only want to unravel until we get to here, our E-wrap cast on. And you can tell that it's the E-wrap because it has this like bump right there. So we're going to put our latch hook into the loop that the E-wrap cast on makes. And we're just going to latch up. Instead of putting this on the original needle, we're actually going to put it onto the needle to the left. And we're going to make sure that this needle is completely out of work, all the way in position A. And we're going to do that with every single needle that we put out into position E. Ooh. Now that we have finished the ribbing, we're going to attach some weights. Make sure all of our needles back here are out of work. Our tension dial is still 3.5, and we're going to knit 22 rows. Our row counter should be at 26, and now we're going to push all of these needles back into work. You can either push them up to align with your previous needles, or you can push them all the way out into position E. And now we're going to knit 6 more rows. I personally like to decrease my tension dial a little bit here to 2.5. It's totally optional, but I like a little bit of a snugger section around the top of my hand, so this will help get us that. All right, and our row counter now reads 32. And as you can see here, we have these holes that were created when we put our needles back into work. So we're gonna do exactly what we did with the bottom ribbing, and we are going to take every other needle, and we are going to drop them and pick them back up. But here is a little trick. So let's take this stitch, for example. I've dropped that. I'm going to put my latch hook into this hole right here, and we're going to drop our stitches just by pulling, and we kind of just want to skip the first bar, and we're going to pull through the second bar and the rest of them all the way up. We're going to do the same over here. Now what happens if you do this and you kind of pull them down and now you can't really tell where the holes are? Well, if you already have a hole here, you can just go over to the next one and see where the holes are. But something else you can do is you can kind of find the loosest stitch. So as you go up this row, you can see that suddenly right here, our bar gets really loose. And that means that that's our first bar that we're going to skip and knit up. And this time we are putting our stitches back onto the initial needle. Okay, and we're going to repeat that with all of our stitches. Now that we have knit our ribbing all the way back up, we're just going to cast off. And this is another time when you can optionally use your elastic cord to knit off with your main yarn. Remove our weights. And now we have our glove. So now what we're going to want to do is we're going to take our panel that we just made, we're going to fold it over like so, and then we're just going to like pretend essentially which hand you'd want it to be for. So if it's for your left hand, you're just going to put your hand here and then put stitch markers here, and here is it essentially where you want your thumb to be. It'll seem small at first, but it actually fits quite nicely because our mock ribbing here is quite stretchy, and so is our true ribbing at the top and the bottom. So if you feel like you need more space to figure out where your hand would really sit, you can always just do it like this, and then put a stitch marker there, put a stitch marker there, and what we'll do is we'll line this up and we'll put stitch markers on the other side of this panel as well, so that when we seam it, we know where to stop. So there we go. We got our stitch markers on both sides, and then we just want to seam up these two sections here. This section at the top and this section at the bottom, and we leave this part open. You can either seam it by hand using an invisible like mattress stitch, or you can seam it on the machine. Here are our finished gloves. You can kind of see which hand I decided to do the tighter tension, the 2.5 tension, and which hand I decided to do the looser 3.5 tension. And I personally just think it creates a better fit. I don't like it to be super stretchy and like far. I like it to be snug, personally. And I told you guys that it would fit. Like, it doesn't look, like when you first wrapped it around, it doesn't look like it's going to fit, but like, it's got plenty of stretch left. So I think it fits great. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. If you are looking for the free pattern, that can be found at my Etsy, with the link will be in the description. And I hope that you guys like using the pattern and use it for gifts, because I think it would be a great little easy gift to whip up, maybe like a stocking stuffer or something. So go ahead and like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.